I've been so focused on Vlogmas this year that I totally didn't realize and forgot that I haven't done my end of the year wrap up video. I did one in 2023, I did one in 2024, so now it's time to do 2025. 2025 really, really reminded me of 2022. It pushed me to my limits in every single way you could possibly think of. It was challenging, it was eye opening, um, humbling. The list just goes on and on and on. It made me really open up my eyes to my life around me and the people that I have around me, the things that I have around me. It really showed me what gratitude is and how to be grateful in different aspects. 2025 also revealed to me who I really was and who I wasn't. I remember at the beginning of this year, I was very, if you go back and you look at my, I think it was my June and my July so far videos, July did not, that's kind of when it started. I just remember at the beginning of this year feeling very lost. I didn't feel complete. I didn't feel confident in myself. I felt really confused. It was like I was trying to make something out of nothing. I was living in this like imaginary world almost. I guess that's the best way that I can describe it. I wasn't really focused on my life. I wasn't in reality. I wasn't, it goes back to gratitude. I wasn't being grateful for what I have, and I wasn't focused on that. I was really just focused on what I didn't have and what I had lost, and it just completely just brought me down in the beginning of the year. I also in 2025 had to face my own anxieties about change. I had to face the fact that nothing stays the same. Nothing is supposed to stay the same. And that actually, there was a lot of things this year that changed constantly. That was one thing in 2025. Ooh, there was a lot of change going on. It seemed like every single month something was changing. And even though I tried to stop it. I tried to stay in my little imaginary bubble and I tried to continue to live in this false reality. Life, like I said, humbled me. And it was like, no, we're going to go through changes this year and you're going to see these changes happen and you're going to have to face these changes. When my husband got diagnosed with heart problems in the middle of 2025, that was kind of, and actually, if you want to say at the beginning of 2025 was when it really started, in the beginning of 2025, that was something that really kind of messed me up. And I think that really didn't help me when it came to not seeing beyond myself and not wanting to face my world. It really just kind of put a dark cloud over my head. But I wasn't using this opportunity as a way to factor in gratitude. I wasn't factoring in gratitude. It was just more or less I was living in this bubble of, a false reality. I didn't want to face anything. So I was kind of just shutting down and, trying to act like everything was fine. I wasn't fine. I started to really feel myself changing, and I knew that I started to feel the feelings of this could be gone tomorrow. It was loudly speaking to me, and my faith started to step in. My relationship with God just grew this year. It started. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that my relationship with God is where I want it to be because it's not. My spiritual relationship is private, of course, but it's not where I want it to be. And that's probably just me talking, but I believe that my relationship with God could be better. But regardless, my relationship with God was changing and it was starting to become more serious. And I was looking at my relationship with my spirituality a lot differently because of the situation that was at hand. It pushed me. It pushed me. Like I said, it humbled me. 2025 really humbled me. And did it take time? Yeah, it took about 6 to 7 months before I really started to come around and the light went on. And I looked at my life and I was like, you know what? This is how fast you can lose everything. Around autumn of 2025, things got darker. I started to realize I was possibly going to lose my house. I was going to lose my home. I was going to lose my kids. I remember just laying in bed each night, and I would look up at the ceiling and I would just kind of look around the room, and I would think, am I going to be in my truck within the next week? Am I going to be sleeping in a cold vehicle within the next month? And because of that situation, again, it humbled me and it made me really take a look around and look at my life. And we don't really see our situation and we don't see our lives until, and this is unfortunate, until something bad happens. I knew in my heart that something needed to change. And I knew that I didn't want to be like this anymore or like that. I didn't want to be so blind and I didn't want to be numb and I didn't want to be fake and I didn't want to be, let's just put on a happy face. And because what's the point? There was no point to it. It didn't make any sense. We waste our lives sitting here trying to live these fake lives and trying to be blind to everything and just put on a smile and just be like everything's fine, and always pushing ourselves to be better and be better and be better, and I have to be better and I have to be better at this. And the reality is that no, we don't. Because of that situation, I knew, I felt the shift, and I said, for lack of better words, forgive me, Lord, I'm about to swear. If there's any kids in the room, tell them to get out. I said, I won't say the word. I said, F this. I am done. I don't want to live like this anymore. And I just threw caution to the wind. And I just got a weird message. I don't know that person. And I started making drastic changes in my life, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. I really started looking at my family. I started looking at my life. I started paying attention to my life. I started being grateful. Key word, grateful. Grateful. You could lose a spouse. They could just die and be a widow for the rest of your life and have a broken heart for the rest of your life. You can lose your children. So those thoughts just made me really get fed up with myself. And I was like, I'm done. We're not supposed to have different lives because this is the life that we are given by God. God gave us these lives for a reason. And it's sad to Him when He gives us these gifts. I'm sorry, you guys. When He gives us these gifts and we kind of just give Him the side eye, our lives. We kind of like, it's like a kid opening up a present on Christmas morning and they throw it on the floor and they're like, I don't want that. When you see that, I have witnessed that firsthand. I have watched a child do that on Christmas morning. Whew, that was bad. Everybody else in the room was kind of just like, isn't that cute? Actually, I heard somebody say cute, and I'm like, it's frustrating. It's irritating. You're just like, why is that child not grateful for what they just got? Why can't they see the beautiful life that they have? It's the same thing when it comes to adults with God. And we do the same identical thing. We throw it on the ground, we throw temper tantrums, and just because nobody's reprimanding us in reality and they're all looking at us going, it's okay. God doesn't feel that way. He's mad at us, and he's our parent, and he's like, why can't you just be grateful for what you have? Why are you like this? I mean, he probably doesn't say why are you like this, but that's the feeling that kind of came over me, and I knew that I was messing up. I knew that I was making a huge mistake, and I knew that I was being very, very, very ungrateful. So that's back to the other word, was gratitude. I had to face a lot of challenges this year. I had to face a lot of emotional turmoil. I had to face reality. I had to have reality to stick a mirror in my face and be like, sis, this is it. This is your life. Social media was a huge struggle this year. I had a really hard time with social media. In the middle of 2025, in the summer of 2025, I actually was debating on whether I wanted to walk away from YouTube. I still am kind of debating that. I'm not really sure. Either there's a ghost in my house or that's my husband. I totally forgot what I was talking about because my husband just interrupted me. Crap. Okay, I was talking about social media. I had to go back and look at my clips. So yeah, like I said, I was debating on whether I wanted to stay on YouTube. And like I said, I'm still not really sure about that. So I don't know what's going to happen in 2026. And the reason why I say that is because of obvious. So social media in general was another struggle for me. When it came to other platforms like Instagram, Facebook, it Facebook in general for me was just starting to become useless. It was starting to become something that was just like a morning newspaper. I would use it for, just to kind of see what the events were going on. But the funny, ironic thing is that it also revealed to me the people in my lives personally that I started to realize were toxic. And I didn't even want to be on that anymore. Facing my fears of change. I kind of just dibble dabbled on this in the beginning, but I really had to face that this year. I kept denying certain things. I would want to do something, but then I wouldn't do it because I would start having this weird anxiety feeling come over me, but then I'd really want to do it. I kept finding excuses for things. I'd be like, oh, it's just PMDD. Oh, it's just my hormones. Oh, it's just because I'm stressed out. Whatever it was. And it would constantly go on over and over and over. But my anxiety would come in and it'd be like, no, you don't. Well, getting close to winter of 2025, I got pissed off and I started to get really sick and tired of my mental health problems. So I just started pulling the trigger on things. I started slowly. I started making small changes here and there. And so when I started doing that, it kind of just trickled down into everything. Everything started getting a rehaul and things started changing. And I started really kind of molding myself and sculpting myself and taking stock of myself, of what I liked and what I didn't like and what I was enjoying, what I really wasn't enjoying, and what I was just lying to myself. I looked like an old woman. When I looked in the mirror and I saw myself and I looked like I was 50 years old, that's when I knew I wasn't happy anymore. That's when I knew I was lying. That's when I knew I was just holding myself back. That's when I knew I either break from these chains or I'm putting myself in a box before I'm even in the box. I'm not going to say anything about 2026. I usually don't. I don't usually have any expectations for the following year. I'm just not one of those people. But that is it. That is my 2025 wrap up video. It was a crazy year, you guys. It was a wild year. But I learned a lot. I did. My little dark circles. These are actually not dark circles. These are, I don't know why, but my tanner will mix in there and then it like makes these a lot darker. I have sinus issues really bad, so my doctor said that's probably where these are coming from. Because I get a good night's rest. I sleep for 6 to 8 hours, so I don't know why this is from sinus issues. That's not, you know. Anyways, that's it. End of year wrap up video of 2025. And I hope, fingers crossed, to see you guys in 2026. Thanks for watching my videos.